Alrighty, welcome guys. Episode 232 of the Michael Lab Show. Thank you so much for joining me and myself, narcissist, egomaniac, self. No, we're gonna stop that. We're gonna stop doing the negative self-talk. Like I said in the last podcast, we are moving on. We are turning over a new leaf. And we are going to complete the last stages of maturation, and that's going to be not being an asshole, but still judging. Definitely still going to judge. We'll see where that gets me. It's a good vibe today. Good. The best podcast episodes are done when that's the weather outside. When it's rainy, kind of depressing, kind of Seattle-ish, kind of jump off the San Francisco Bridge vibe. That's the best weather if you're going to do a podcast. And maybe that's if you live in Seattle, or if you live in Tacoma, Washington, or Portland, and in between your protest, you could go home and do a podcast. And it would go over very well because of the weather. It's gloomy, it's sad, it's depressing. It's the best time to talk into a microphone and listen to yourself speak and listen to yourself come up with nothing logical. I feel like a lot has happened since the last time I spoke. It's only been 2 days. Like, as I was speaking, that last podcast, Facebook was down. And it was weird, right? It was let me pull up one thing real quick on my here we go, just so I have everything that I want to talk about. I can do a whole podcast where I just talk about my my podcast ideas. That might get me canceled though. Not canceled. I'm not on anything, but that might get me like in trouble. Not even in trouble because there's not enough people to listen to get in trouble. Or I could like pull Shane Gillis and then like wonder if I did say that. Wonder if I did say a racial slur. It would go, I would become like canceled. No, because he was like going on SNL. I think that's what it was. Anyways, I digress. But I was doing the podcast on Tuesday or Monday, and Tuesday was the day that Facebook, or actually Monday is the day Facebook went down and all the chaos ensued. And I still haven't watched the full interview yet, but on Sunday, one of the ladies who worked for Facebook, I guess like product development, maybe. I think that's what it was. Frances something. She spoke out on 60 Minutes. I've talked about it before, and a lot of people talk about like the legacy media not making a huge impact anymore. That's kind of wrong in a lot of ways, as I should have guessed. But I mean, I guess the synopsis of what she said was essentially Facebook is putting profit over safety. And there's a lot to be digested and broken down in that statement. The first thing I thought when I saw it was monopoly. My brain's going everywhere. I'm trying to wrap my head around it. We even talked about it in my class. Like my teacher opened up the lecture on Tuesday, like, hey, how did everyone feel about Facebook going down? And for me, it was fine, right? I don't really spend a lot of time on Facebook or Instagram. I mostly listen, like in my free time, I listen to podcasts, which are on YouTube normally. The only podcast I listen to that's not on YouTube is Rogan, Joe Rogan Experience. Everything else I listen to on YouTube. So I watch people. So when I'm on YouTube, I can't go on social media. And I know a lot of people say it the same way a lot of people say they don't eat a lot of food when they're fat. But I don't spend that much time on social media. I spend most of my time on Robinhood. And I guess if you were to rank my social media usage, it would be Twitter would probably be my number one, just for like news feed and stuff like that. Which is kind of crazy to think. Like before, I feel like Trump saved Twitter. Like if it wasn't for Trump, I think Twitter would have just gone under. Not gone under, but it wouldn't be as big as it is now. It's huge. Like it's one of the biggest platforms. There's just a lot of things I'm trying to get together with this Facebook thing. So that was my first reaction. My first reaction was, this is nice. Like, this might be one of the more productive days in America. And then my immediate thought went to, no, it's not. It can't be a productive day because what you saw when Facebook went down. So I mean, that's two separate things, and which I don't think it is. I think they're very similar. When the whistleblower came on Sunday, Monday the stock dropped huge because Facebook. This was the first time. Normally, when Facebook comes out with news and it's negative news, there's never really receipts to go along with it. There's not really evidence to go along with it. And she actually allegedly brought paper to Congress showing that, I don't know how you show it, but that Facebook knowingly is aware of the fact that their algorithm makes people upset and makes people unsafe, but they still put profits over that. So this was like one of the first times where the market actually reacted to negative news. And I was watching like the meltdown on Tuesday or on Monday, and people were saying like this could be the end of Facebook. And it's so fascinating because there's a lot of issues that come along with that, right? If Facebook does promote negative stuff, like if they intentionally put negative stories in front of the viewer, because negative attention gets more eyes on the product, more eyes on the post equals more ads equals more money for Facebook, and it equals more money for the company that's advertising on Facebook. And ideally, and what I think is, if you're spending time on Facebook or Instagram, I think there's a lot of blaming Facebook here, and I don't get me wrong. I mean, Facebook, yeah, maybe they are doing evil things. Maybe they are intentionally trying to disrupt America, divide people. But is it? I'm challenged with the idea, like it's a car analogy. Like, if you get behind a car, is it the car's fault if you crash it or if you crash the car? Like, yeah, I mean, sometimes there's malfunctions in the car, but is Facebook inherently a malfunction practice? Because my social media feed is not negative at all. Like, I get on Instagram, when I do, my discovery page is literally just bodybuilding. It's like fitness related, bodybuilding world, finance world, comedy, a lot of comedy. When I get on Instagram, I look up Brendan Schaub's podcast, or Brendan Schaub's Instagram page, Bert Kreischer, Theo Von, Joe Rogan, Tim Dillon, Nick Bare Performance, Nick Bare Fitness, and that's about it. And I go through my discovery page a little bit, and I just look at like money stuff, like Bitcoin stuff, like crypto stuff. Like, that's my world. And it's like, I don't get on social media and get pissed off. Like, I don't get angry. My Facebook feed is not angry. It's a lot of podcast group. I'm in a lot of groups for podcasting. And it's like, yeah, I could choose. I'm ultimately choosing to make a feed that is not negative. That's what I'm choosing. I have the power to do that. So I almost feel like there's a lot of, and I think the biggest issue with all this is not that Facebook is doing it, but it's that I think the biggest worry is the kid thing. Like, when Facebook first came out with the idea that they were going to do Instagram for kids, like that, I think that was like the biggest mistake they made. Like, that is such a weird concept, because immediately once I hear that as a parent, okay, so now they have an entire platform for kids. My brain goes into me, just me being me. I'm always, I don't look at the best in people. I assume people, and maybe I'm paranoid, but I assume danger in people. That's just what I do, and it might be a protection thing. I don't know what it is, but like, I assume that people have to prove to me that they're a good person before I assume that they're not a good person. So with the Instagram kids thing, my head immediately goes to, well, if I am a child molester, if I'm a pervert and I like little kids, I can just go straight to this platform. So, and I'm trying to think about, like, Facebook. It's a multi-billion dollar, it's a $1 trillion company. The market cap hit $1 trillion earlier this year. Are they just all collectively turning their head to that problem? Or are they so confident in security that problem won't exist? And how do you do that? How do you prove that you're not under the age of 18? Do you have to upload a social security number? Do you have to show a birth certificate? Well, if that's the case, then we're just giving them more information. Like, it's a weird thing. And another thing that's very strange to me is as this as this information is coming out that Facebook is inherently putting and I'm a capitalist, right? So like I really truly believe in free market. And here's another thing that I think is very contradicting to what a lot of people think. I am free. I love freedom. I love free will. I don't believe in free will, but I believe in freedom, right? I believe in the ability to do whatever you want, whenever you want, because you're a human being, and no other human being can tell you what you can and can't do. That for me, that includes drugs. For me, that includes abortion. For me, that includes alcohol. For me, that includes anything, right? And then we implement certain laws and restrictions so we don't have utter chaos, aka can't murder people, aka can't rape people. You have a freedom to do that, but it comes with a consequence. So that's a ramble there. And there's companies that we knowingly, this is, God, it's so complicated. But it's such a shock factor. Like, we hate Mark Zuckerberg. People hate Mark Zuckerberg. And like, I was talking to my friend, like, and I didn't even think about this, but there's a conflicting issue between Facebook and news outlets. Of course, news outlets hate Facebook because Facebook is them, except better. They're better at it. There's a direct link of competition there. And I think a lot of this has to do with, so if the company is putting the safety and the health of other people below the hierarchy of profits, is that not just every other company in the world? Like, is that not just Kellogg? Is that not just Coca-Cola? Is that not just PepsiCo? Is that not just Philip Morris? Is that not just Anheuser-Busch? Is that like not McDonald's? Like, where do we draw the line? Like, why do those companies get away with it? And clearly they're profit first. McDonald's, if they had decent ingredients whatsoever, the average franchise owner wouldn't be taking home 20% profit of the restaurant, or 20% market. They wouldn't be taking home a 20% profit margin each year, because they couldn't. It would be much lower. It would be 2 to 5%. And an average McDonald's makes $3 million. Instead of them taking home $60K from each restaurant, they would maybe have to take home, if it was 10%, just $30K, or 5%, $15K. So they would have to have 10 restaurants to make $150K a year, 100 if they want to make $1.5 million a year, assuming that they all do well. Like, and I'm not saying that Instagram or that Facebook doesn't intentionally do things to harm people. But whose fault is it? If I get in the boat and the river is leading me down a waterfall, and I know that the waterfall is coming ahead of me, like it's 10 miles in front of me, and I go off that waterfall and I die in my canoe when I have a paddle, or heck, even I have like a electric motor in the back, and I fall off that waterfall, is it the waterfall's fault? Is it the river's fault, or is it my fault? I could have just went off to the side. And I think a lot of like the social media stuff, a lot of people say that, and I think it is true. But is it inherently wrong? Yes. But is it illegal? No. Is it ethically conflicting? Absolutely. I think it is ethically conflicting, but I don't think ethics and emotions are the law. I don't think the law should ever interfere with emotions and ethics. And I think that's a serious issue that we're experiencing right now on Facebook. And here's the irony of it all. We don't care. We don't care. Like, I saw I think it was either 7 or 70 million people signed up for Telegram or used Telegram the day that, and I don't even know what Telegram is. I'm assuming it's some type of messaging platform service, but it's not as good as WhatsApp, and WhatsApp's owned by Facebook, and WhatsApp was closed for 6 hours. And it's like, on Wednesday, on Tuesday, after the shutdown was over, after they were able to get the services back up, everybody started using social media again and didn't care. They don't care. People don't care about these things. People don't care about their safety. People don't care about their data. People don't care, because here's something that is people don't like to talk about, but it's just the truth. This is just the truth. If your life is easier, if you have this illusion that you're more productive, I'm on it today. I've been drinking Red Bull like a mother, and I'm on it, dude. I feel pinned. I feel like I'm in tip-top McGee shape, as Homeboy would say. And when I say Homeboy, I mean Joey Diaz. But there is this what was I saying? Oh man. If your life is more productive, if you have tools that make your life easier, more productive, an illusion of happiness and a connection so you're less lonely, you don't care. People don't care. And I really do think this is completely blown out of proportion. And obviously I'm feeding into the dragon because I'm talking about it right now, but I don't think it's a big deal. I really don't. Is it wrong? Yes. But so is going to McDonald's. So is getting a beer every Friday or every day. So is cigarette companies selling you cancer sticks. Like, that's wrong. That's wrong. But if you're somebody who says that women should have abortions whenever they want, and if you're somebody who says that we can't have Facebook, then you're not a freedom of choice. You don't believe in that. You pick and choose what you believe. And if you believe in freedom, if you think people should abort their child whenever you want, if you think people should do the drugs that they want, if you think people should be allowed to drink whenever they want, then people should be allowed to be able to use any social media that they want. And I'm not saying that means that you should have, I'm not saying that means when you have incidents like Russian bots and you have meme farms like they did in Russia in 2016, they're literally persuade people's ideas. Like there's real evidence that there's literally companies in Russia where their entire job is to make a shit ton of accounts and retweet and tweet and get these things out here to get in Americans' minds, to get them to think one thing, even though because Americans are. There's this wild video by a KGB member. He talks about the easiest way to take down America. It's not to fight them with war, because you're never going to beat them with war. It's to take our little delicate, experienced Marxism, communist minds and feed us that. And then we divide ourselves. I've been very, and I kind of want to move on from the Facebook thing, but I think it's very important for us to take this time to realize that. And I think this is the most important thing. I was telling Taylor, if you really hate Facebook, if you really hate Instagram, if you really hate WhatsApp, you think they're dangerous for the future of the generation of kids, if you think they're inherently bad for mental health, if you think that they are creating a divide in this country, well, here's how you stop them. You don't let the government get involved, because when the government get involved, nothing. There's a reason why the government doesn't run a business, because they suck at it. They can't balance they can't even pass a freaking infrastructure deal that's been they've had months and months to do this, and they can't decide at all. You have a president who doesn't want to budge. You have Republicans that don't want to budge, but they can't decide on anything. It's absolutely embarrassing that these are the people representing us. And I can go on and on about that, like how we had a 72-year-old narcissistic freaking crazy person around the country. Now we have someone who can't even stay awake and rubs kids' feet and plays with his hair and puts sunscreen through his whatever. That doesn't matter. But what I'm basically saying is government should not get involved in things. They can't do anything. They literally cannot do anything. We need to let this be a private enterprise. And the moment that you start regulating freedom of speech, that is a slippery fucking slope, man. And I'm not saying it like from a I don't want people, the moment you say that, people are like, oh, you're a fascist. It's like, no, I'm not a fascist. I've read books. Like, there's something about power, and there's something, and if you're listening to this, think about any moment of your life when you had a little bit of power. Did you stop? Did you give it back up? I know I haven't. Whenever when I was a manager at the restaurant, when I first got promoted, I went on a power trip, bro. I was yelling at people. I was a jerk, and I eventually learned. But people don't do that. When you give power up, when you give up your freedom of anything, the government will not even government, but your company, anybody will continue to extract that from you. I mean, heck, just look at COVID. It was a 3-day thing. We flattened the curve. Well, we flattened the curve multiple times, but nothing changes. We're still forced to get vaccines. People are losing their jobs because they have to get a vaccine because they're a construction worker that sometimes works at a federal building, and they're forced to get a vaccine. That's crazy. But this is what happens. This is what happens. We give a little bit of power. And when you have think about people who run the government. They're the most narcissistic. Like, listen to Nancy Pelosi talk. Listen to Chuck Schumer talk. Listen to Governor DeSantis talk. And that's both sides. I'm not saying one is right. I think they're both lunatics. These are full-blown narcissists. These are crazy people. These are people who were bullied as children. These are people who have no backbone. These are people who have no sense of self-worth. And they're just going for your vote. And the only reason why they can even get in front of your vote is because they're being paid off by the biggest companies in the world, like Facebook. It's a game. It's a game. You're supposed to be dumb. And this isn't a conspiracy. This is just dumb. You got to be dumb. So you can blindly follow these idiots through a dark room. That's what's happening. We're all blind. We're following these fucking TikToks through a dark room. And they're, oh, this is where you got to go. We're going to give you this much money. Just shut up and get the vaccine. It's like, and I'm not like, I'm vaccinated. And am I going to get the booster? Probably not. I mean, if I have to, I will. Like what I say, if I have to, if it starts popping up again, I might. But here, the FDA didn't give full approval of the vaccine or the booster shot because they're saying the risk outweighs the reward from getting heart inflammation than getting the booster shot. And if you believe in science, then you got to believe in the FDA. If you can't just pick and choose when you want to believe in science, bro. I know that. That's why I got the vaccine early on, back in March, because I do believe in science. But believing in science doesn't mean like I don't know. But the freedom thing, and it gets to me because I see it all the time, and it's just blind. 1 second. Fake patriarchy. Humans are naturally always going to have a hierarchy. I've been on this kick lately. I'm like, I can't spell. I don't care if I can't spell. Who cares? Spelling is so overrated. If you ask me, I think spelling should... Why do they even teach you how to spell anymore? I'm just kidding. Spelling is important. You should know how to spell at least your name. Everything else can just be spell checked. No, but like, this country is so blessed in a lot of ways. And I think the biggest reason why it is blessed is because we haven't experienced Marxism and communism. There's a reason why in a lot of other countries there's this fear of it because, and we have a fear of it too. Like there's a reason, like it's just never worked out. And I'm not saying that banning freedom of speech or starting to ban it, such as saying what you can and can't say on Facebook, is going to lead to that. But what I am saying is when weak people get power from power they never had before, weak people do not give up power. It takes a strong person to say, okay, I fucked up. You can have back the power. That doesn't happen. It does not happen. And that will not happen with this administration. That will not happen when Trump becomes president again. That will not happen ever. And it should never, ever, ever be given up. Ever. Ever. And you guys might think I'm far right or whatever. I really don't care. I could care less because I know if you have a conversation with me, you will realize that I'm very much understandable. And I'm very easy to talk. I'm honestly, you know what I think I am? I think I'm a libertarian. Like I really do. I mean, maybe I'm centrist to right, but I'm very liberal in a lot of ways. But I think that Facebook thing is fascinating because when I first saw it, my reaction was like, yeah, well, you should ban them. Like, if they're doing no, but then I was thought about it. I had a conversation with a few of my friends, and I was like, nah, man, I don't have an issue because I don't have an issue because I don't fall for the trap. And there's another excuse to like forget about self-responsibility, and people are using it with this Facebook thing. If you have shitty algorithms because you put out shitty posts, you're probably a shitty person. Like, you know what I mean? Like if you're constantly angry all the time, it's not a coincidence. Like if you start a Facebook page today, the first thing you see won't be QAnon post. That's not the first thing you're going to see, you know? And it's very much like your social media feed is like your life too, right? Like your social media feed is literally your life. Like, you know how people have a life where it starts at 6 o'clock in the morning and, you know, they don't like their job, right? They hate their job. So they have no excitement to go to work. Since they have no excitement to go to work, they probably don't really have that much self-worth. says they don't really have a lot of self-worth. They're probably not getting up early to go to the gym. They're probably not working out. If they're not working out, they're probably not in the best shape. And if they're not in the best shape, that means they're probably not eating the healthiest food. And yeah, I'm probably taking a lot of leaps of missing logic here. But we know people like this, and then they're angry, and then they go to work, they hate their job, but they do just enough to get by, so they never get a promotion, they never get paid more. And then they get mad that they're not going to get paid more. Then they get mad that they're not getting the promotion, but they're not actually putting the work in because they don't want to be there. The people that they work with know that they don't want to be there, so they probably don't talk to them. They probably don't like them. They're probably not friends with them. And then they get off work, and they're pissed that they worked all day. They hate that they got to go back again on Wednesday because it's Tuesday. It's the beginning of the week, so they go home. They start drinking again, and when they start drinking again, they hate they got to go back the next day. So then they probably stay up super late to try to avoid it, try to probably avoid the fact that they go back to work, and they order a pizza because the pizza they think will suppress their feelings of having to go back to work the next day. And then Friday comes, they're super pumped that it's Friday, so they go ahead and go out to the bar, and they try to blind the fact that they actually hate their life by getting lost in this world of intoxication. And like, and then nothing ever works out for them. Nothing ever works out for them. And there's a reason why. It's because what you do, the person you are, the person you wake up in the morning, the way you view your life, the things that you do ultimately decide the outcome of your life. Facebook does the same thing. It's almost like they're just hacking into that laziness, into that corruptness, into that depressed person. I'm not saying that depression is not real. It's real. It's a sad thing. I know people who have depression. I've been depressed, and it's like it's terrible. But like they've just taken that natural cycle that humans have, that humans are innate to, that people are pulled to, and they've just put it on a digital platform. And you've been able to take these people, and they have been able to translate that physical being, that physical laziness, that physical failing of a life, for lack of, that's harsh, that's very harsh, but for lack of better terms, and just translated it to social media. And everything that they see is that. And it's like, that's what it is. So who's at fault for that? Is that Facebook's fault? Or is that the person's fault? Well, right now we're saying it's Facebook's fault. So guess what happens? That person never changes. And I'm pointing at me, but that's not me. I don't do that. I got a good social media feed. But then that person never changes. And then it's just another excuse for that person. And then like nothing ever happens. It seems so commonsensical, but I don't think it is commonsensical. And I think it's so much easier to just say Facebook did it. Whatever. I'm in QAnon because of Facebook. It's like, no, you're in QAnon because you can't write your name without misspelling it, idiot. You're in QAnon, man, because you don't trust NASA and you think the world's flat, you idiot. No, I don't know. My biggest issue with a lot of these things, and it's the same way I feel about like climate change, the same way I feel about like equality and like human equality and we pick and choose what we want to say, we pick and choose what we want to believe, and we pick and choose what we want to see and not see. It's like not see like the Hitler people, but like not see. I wonder if there's any connection there with Nazi and Nazis. But like we pick and choose these things. Like the same people who are anti-capitalism, tweet on they put out a tweet on Twitter, which is $1 billion company, saying that they hate capitalism, and that tweet is put out through an iPhone, which is the biggest capitalistic success of all time. Apple is the biggest, almost a $3 trillion market cap. It's the biggest success story ever in capitalism. So they put out a tweet saying they hate capitalism, up with communism, down with billionaires, up with Marxism, on a phone that has produced billions of dollars for people, that probably makes their life easier, on a platform of Twitter, which is one of the biggest social media companies ever, if not the biggest behind Facebook. And maybe ByteDance owns TikTok. But like, and same thing with the car. Like same thing with cars, man. Like, God damn it, fuck. We're gonna go down this path because it drives me insane. There seems to be a hatred for Tesla. There seems to be a hatred for Tesla in the group. And I think, okay, so I think the hatred, just from my calculations, I could be completely wrong. And if I am, please let me know. From my calculations, the hatred from Tesla stems from the owner, Elon Musk, who's an eccentric South African immigrant billionaire worth $200 billion plus. He's eccentric as hell. He's smart as hell. He's probably not the nicest guy to hang out with all the time. He probably talks over you. Probably thinks you're an idiot if you say something stupid. But I have that issue too. I feel like when I hear some people say things, I'm like, oh my God, I'm Dobby. I want to smash my head against on the wall. Just put a hole through my head with a book. I love Harry Potter. God, I love Harry Potter. It's so good. J.K. Rowling for president. Yeah, but there seems to be like this correlation. As people who hate him seem to be big proponents of climate change, who want to change the climate. They want to save the world, save the whales, save the cub baby killing tigers that eat their own babies. You guys know that? Like, you know, these people out there who are always talking about save animals, don't kill animals. You know, like grizzly bears eat their own offspring. Like, you know, if a grizzly bear, if a male grizzly bear finds a female and the female already has a kid and the other dad's not around, that male grizzly bear will kill that baby, murder and eat that baby alive in front of its mom, because that male dad doesn't want that baby to be around if it's not his baby. And, you know, I've read a book called Behave by Robert Sapolsky where he talks about like, oh, it's one of the reasons why stepdad abuse is so much higher in stepdads than it is on average with regular dads or biological dads and biological sons, because it's not theirs, which I think objectively makes sense. You don't want it to make sense, but it makes sense. But I also think there's a lot of, you know, like broken houses, you know, sometimes is that causation is not correlation is not causation. Causation is not correlation. I don't know. Anyways, but like these same people who like want to save the planet, they want to watch every leaf grow green and not die. And, you know, they're the same people who hate Tesla, but Tesla's an electric car. Tesla's better for the environment. But like there's this paradox in a lot of things, and the paradox is something that people don't want to. Paradoxes are uncomfortable, and they're uncomfortable because they bring in the truth, and the truth is that there's no truth on either side of any argument, and usually the truth is found right in the middle. Right? There's three sides of the stories. There's one side, the other side, and then there's the middle. Left, right, middle. And the middle is usually where the truth sits. And there's some things that don't have an objective truth. Abortion's one of them. Is there an objective truth there? Okay, well, if I ask somebody who's Roman Catholic, yeah. You kill any, I don't care if it's a day old. If you kill it, you're going to hell. It's murder. Atheist. Human an evolutional biologist who is an atheist. Richard Dawkins. No, absolutely not. Kill it. I don't care. Before 6 months, who cares? It's not a living thing. Who's wrong? I don't know who's wrong. And we will never know. We can argue about it, waste our time, as we should, I think. I think we should argue with it. But I don't know. I think there's... and I feel like I just do a lot of complaining, but I feel like there's a lot of objective truth. Oh, these people are awesome. My group's awesome, dude. This one dude sucks, though. This one guy in my group does literally nothing. He literally does nothing. He's been sick, quote unquote, the past 2 classes. Mind you, this class is asynchronous, so you don't have to do anything. You can literally just sit there and look at your screen. But he's been sick. All you have to do is stay awake and you just listen to it. But he's been sick each class. I'm like, oh, how convenient, buddy. Jesus Christ. And I don't have like the energy to, I just do the work. Like I don't have the energy to get mad, you know? And I won't get mad. I'm not going to complain. I'm just going to do it. I don't care. I'll just suck it up and do it. Anyways, that's my complaint about the Facebook thing. I don't think it's as big as a deal. I don't think they're objectively doing anything wrong. I think they're putting profits over safety the same way that like, as long as beer companies are allowed to sell, as long as, Philip Morris still allowed to sell cigarettes, As long as Kraft mac and cheese can put out shitty products that are really bad for you, as long as all these things are legal, who gives a fuck? That's my opinion. And my opinion could be completely wrong. I would love to hear yours. But like, we just live in this world where we love simplicity. We hate complexity. We hate complexity. We love simplicity. Simplicity is where the money is. Complexity is not. And that's the way it's always going to be. And that's one of the reasons why I don't think the country's going to be fully divided, because we're too dumb to divide anything. Like, we're too dumb to actually do anything. We're fucking idiots. And that's including me. I'm an idiot too. I feel like I struggle. I feel like I do a lot of thinking, and I struggle with these things, and I've put a lot of thought in them. I put a lot of thought in things. And that's, I think that might be a character flaw or not a character flaw. These thoughts rape my brain. Like, I don't want them to do it. They get in my head and they just start like sticking their dick everywhere. And I'm like, hey man, don't do that, man. That's not comfortable. That doesn't feel comfortable. Like, stop that, bro. Like, get out of here. But it just keeps doing it. Like, these intrusive thoughts just keep pounding away at my head. Like, I'm like, hey, yo, stop, bro, stop it. And my brain's like, hey, Mike, you can't, like, don't stop thinking on that. Like, you should think on that longer, man. It's not easy. It's complicated. You like complicated. You're a complicated person. I'm like, bro, just let me have, like, a sangria and, like, or a mimosa. And, like, is that what people drink? What do you drink when you have orange juice and alcohol? When you're a full-blown weekend alcoholic? I think it's a mimosa. Like, just let me have a mimosa and some jelly on a bagel, bro. But, like, and then my brain's like, nah, dude, we're not going to do that, bro. We're going to think about Mars, man. Would you want to live on Mars? Are we in a simulation? DMT, it releases from your brain right upon death. Is it just like a natural morphine? Wait, so if people take it, wait, when people have near-death experiences, like, they say they come back as a better person? But if DMT is that, and we just artificially take in the middle of life before you die, shouldn't everyone take it and make them a better person? Should we just all be taking mushrooms? No, because some people could have psychological breaks on mushrooms. But is that better than not? Like, what if their whole life is shitty anyways? Like, you know what I mean? Those are fun things to think about. But, like, those are things I don't choose to think about. They just happen. They just happen. And, that's why I'm reading Harry Potter, because Harry Potter is a break from that. Harry Potter is a fun world, dude. I cannot get over the fact that one person created this whole universe. That's crazy to me. It's like she was lost in this world for years, decades. I've never valued fiction the way I have found, like, a profound value in it lately. And the value is you can create worlds. I was listening to David Foster Wallace, who wrote this book called Ingest, which I'm definitely going to read. There's something powerful about that. Saying I'm going to read it. I've proven right here. There's a shit ton up there too that I do read. And, like, there's something really powerful in that. Saying I am a reader. If I want to read something, I will read it. There's nothing you can do about it. I will purposely increase my IQ. Fuck you. You can't tell me what to do. That's powerful, dude. God damn, that's powerful. I've never thought about it. It's so powerful, though. But David Foster Wallace, he was saying, what was he saying? Damn it. Authors and people who write fiction books, they have very obtuse and almost too edgy for society, for everyday people to hear, that they need a platform to release their ideas through characters so they don't look like absolute lunatics. So it's like, that's what fiction is. And I think that, and maybe people have told me that, I've just never cared enough to pay attention, but that's the real value of fiction, is you can get complicated ideas and complicated thoughts, and you can put them on a platform that is not, that people can, each character has a certain thing, right? So since they have a certain thing, you can then get them to say anything, and it can be understandable. And I've never really processed that, but that's what it is. Like that's what Harry Potter is. It's a world where you can learn things. It's also like an escapism place, and that's powerful too, man. Like, dude, if I was a kid and if I grew up like in a family that like reading was a thing, I probably wouldn't have done it still because I would do the opposite of what everyone else did because, I do that, and I don't know if that's an insecurity. I don't know exactly what that is, but I do that. It's something I do. But I would have had a wizard. I would have been a full-on wizard. I think I might be Neville Longbottom this Halloween. I would have been a full-on motherfucking wizard. I would have, dude. I would have been saying Relaxion or Ascension or like Levitation. I would have been full-on wizardry. And I want to do it now, dude. I want to go to Diagon Alley. I want to go to Diagon. I want to go to Hogwarts. God, I want it to be real so bad. I do. I want it to be real. I want it to be real so bad. I don't know why. I feel like such a child, but that's what I want, dude. Domino's is promoting a high priority manager corporate operation lead role in Lincecum. Shout out to you, Lincecum. Shout out to you, Paige, for getting the shit done. Y'all the best. I'm not going to say the other dude's name, because the other dude definitely doesn't listen to the podcast, but if he did, he'd be pissed. But, like, just do your assignment, bro. Also, buy Shiba Inu. It's a huge crypto. It's going to the moon, bro. I'm already up $44 on it. 100-something%. I only put $30 in. That's it, guys. That's all I got to talk about. I will stop wasting your time. Thank you so much for listening to the Michael App Show, episode 232. Facebook failed or not. Who knows? We're all going to use it, though. I was just on it. What are you going to do? I was just on Instagram. Guys, thank you so much for listening. I'll catch you guys next Tuesday. Episode 233. Thank you so much for listening. Like, comment, subscribe on YouTube. If you're on audio, please leave me a review. I don't really ask for reviews anymore because I have like 700 plus. But if you could just leave a review, that helps a lot. Just a 5-star, like 2 or 3 sentences, nothing crazy. Like I like his brain on his left. I like his books on his right, and he has a really cool chicken in front of him. And share with 2 or 3 friends. That helps tremendously. Word of mouth is still the best. It's the most valuable. It has the highest retention rate, in my opinion, because you can give honest truth without through a filter. Yeah, guys. Thank you so much for listening. I'll catch you guys in episode 233 of the Michael App Show. Peace out. See you. Time to eat lunch. Thank you.